So in the last video, I talked about extruded cuts, and in this video, I'm going to talk about revolves. Revolves can be either extrusions or cuts. So let's get started. So as always, I'm going to start by creating a new part. I'm going to create out of this part template, which is my metric template. And I am going to start with this Revolved Base Boss in the Features tab. Okay, so what I'm going to do in this is I'm going to recreate that hollow sphere example that I did in class. So I'm going to start by selecting the front plane, and I'm going to create my reference lines. Okay, so I'm going to do this a little bit differently than I did in class. In class, I created some circles, and then I trimmed away. But in this case, I'm going to use this center point arc to create the half circle straight off the bat. So I am going to select center arc, and then I'm going to select the very center point, and then I'm going to draw it out along the vertical reference line. The plan here being that the vertical reference line will form the axis that I want to revolve around. So I'm going to drag this line out 180 degrees. And then I am going to use an offset entities to make another version of this. So note that when I selected offset entities, Solidworks automatically put it on the interior. Which one Solidworks chooses does switch around a little bit, but you can always change the direction. So I'm going to come over here to the left, and I'm going to hit reverse. And that switches the offset from the inside to the outside. We'll go ahead and leave it at 10 millimeters, that's fine. And then to completely dimension these two, I'm going to dimension the radius of the inside. And I'll set that at 50. Okay, so this is not a closed contour yet. So let's go ahead and add two lines, one from here to here, and one from here to here. So now this area has gone gray, indicating that SolidWorks has recognized it as a closed area. So I'm going to go ahead and hit Exit Sketch. Okay, so now SolidWorks is asking me to choose an axis of revolution. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to select this. So automatically SolidWorks gives us a full preview of the hollow sphere, but we don't have to do the full 360. Like all of our other features, we have multiple options. So I'm going to leave it at blind, and I'm going to change it to 180, just so you can see what that looks like. So we can indeed see it's a hollow sphere. But if we did want to run it to 360, we would just edit this feature here, change it to 360. Hit check, and now we have our hollow sphere. Of course, it's very hard to tell that it's hollow, so if we wanted to confirm, there's a couple things we can do. One way is to come up here to this display style, and we can change it to hidden lines visible. And so we no longer have our contour shading, but we can see that there is something inside. Another way to check is to do a section view. And so the section view will let us look inside the part without actually deleting any geometry. So it looks like it's half again, but I have not deleted any geometry. When I unclick section view, it'll all come back. So that's our hollow sphere. So let's suppose, though, we wanted to do another revolved feature and we wanted to do it as a cut. So let's go ahead and say revolved cut up here. And let's create a band around our hollow sphere. So I don't have any flat planes I don't have any flat edges to select or faces. So I'm going to select one of the existing planes. Solidworks doesn't display these automatically once I've created the first feature, but they are still there. So when I click on this menu here, on the arrow that's to the left of the part name, I can now come and I can see these planes by hovering my mouse over them. So I'm going to select the top plane. And I'm going to draw the axis that I want to revolve around. And another reference line to help me put my band in. Okay, I've accidentally created an extra line, which is okay. I'm just going to select it and hit delete. And then change it to a reference line. All right, so I did the last one with a corner rectangle. So to create our band, let's go ahead and make this a inset. So let's do a center rectangle. And I'm going to very carefully select this center point that is the intersection of the curve and my reference line. And I'm going to drag it out like so. And then I'll set the height and the depth, which I'm going to set by doing my dimension from here to the center point. And I'm going to set that to 7.5, not for any particular reason. So as before, we do have some overhang here, and that will get caught in our cut. But because we have no other bodies or features in this particular part, that's okay. So let's go ahead and hit Exit Sketch. And once again, we're now to the same style of left pane. So I'm going to go ahead under Axis Revolution, I'm going to select this axis and rotate so you can see what it's doing. And I'm going to hit check now. And now we can see that we've put a band around our sphere. And that is a revolved cut. So the biggest limitation with revolves is you are limited to these circular style features. If you want to follow a more exotic path, you have to use something like a sweep, which I'll be discussing in a few videos. In the next video, though, I am going to briefly discuss fillets and chamfers.